Good morning. Today we are going to discuss configuration properties annotation from Spring Boot. Before that, let's explore value annotation a little bit. The value annotation in Spring Boot used for injecting values into fields, means variables. So those values we will be using in a constructor, function or method. So these values typically we read from application.properties or YML file. So technically we read values from external file, property file or YAML file and access it a function. If you look at the structure or the syntax here is that we are using a private string property value and we are using edit value annotation in that we are passing my property dot name. So my property dot name entry key will be there in application properties. So we are reading that particular key value through the key. If you look at the example here, the properties file has two entries, app.name, app.timeout, key value. So if I want to get the value for this app.name, how do we use in the program in a Spring Boot? This is the way. We create a class and we write a variable here or here and we map the particular variable with the application property key app.name app.name with the help of edit value annotation. So if you put edit value annotation with the property key name, it's a case sensitive technically. So if you have the same key, we are mapping that particular key to a variable or a field. This particular key value should be stored here. We can use the particular key straight away to get the value. In this example, I have app.name, app.timeout. I have two variables. One variable name is mapped for app.name by using edit value. Timeout is mapped to a key app.timeout by using value annotation. So basically two parameters I mapped with two variables with the help of edit value notation and accessing the particular values. Straightforward. If you look at this particular page, we have few properties or key value pairs and we are accessing them at a class which is configured as a component and we are mapping each key with a variable. But if you look at here, in these two, app is common. In these three, app.database is common. In this four, app.email is common. So two prefixes are same, three prefixes are same, four prefixes are same. But still we are writing complete key, app.name, app.version, app.database URL, app.database username. If you look at these prefix names are duplicate, redundant. Still we can use this approach and get the property key and value through this approach. But I feel it's like a typing much more content. It's like a duplicate of code. It's not a smart code. So to simplify this problem, this will work without any issues. But I don't want to write same prefixes multiple times. I want to have a better approach. What I will do? I will go for configuration properties annotation, which is one more annotation is available from Spring Boot. We can use that annotation straight away to minimize the code or for better approach. I don't write the prefixes all the time. If you look at the configuration properties annotation, is an annotation from Spring Boot provide powerful and convenient way to bind external configuration. Basically telling that through this approach, still we can load properties and get the values. And basically these environment variables or command arguments are structured to Java object. This is very important. Basically, we are mapping the application property into an object and we are accessing those fields members from the object. This is a little bit complicated than value, but this is a better approach if you have too many prefixes which are same. This particular annotation we can use at the class level, method level. So both the ways you can use. If you look at in this example, I'm not using added value annotation for each field. I'm not using any field level annotation. I use added configuration properties annotation prefix AWS Amazon correction, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 properties are having same prefix. I put the prefix here. So the suffix URL will be a variable here. This variable name, this suffix should be same. Regions, regions. Since I have a lot of rows, like too many keys, I took it as list string. Is closed, boolean is closed. Should be same key. And zones, set string. So rather having added value for each field, I just put prefix at the class level only. So Spring will take care of converting these variables into with this prefix AWS Amazon connection dot URL this particular key. Same way regions append with this prefix and try to find keys here. So this is a much better approach if you had too many keys in a properties file having similar prefix. Okay, let's go by each example with each type. In this page, I'm using only one entry in the application properties AWS Amazon connection latest revenue. So I'm mapping this particular key into this particular variable private integer latest revenue. Suffix is same, prefix I put here with the help of configuration properties in a class. This class I entered with component. So whenever the Spring Boot loads the start the application, it will load all the components. It will load this component also, and it will try to call or read the this particular key value. So that the integer will have 107. Let's create a project and execute this example. New project base config prop example Java Maven JDQ23. I go with var file. I will be using some REST controllers to pull the data. So I use web starter create open the application.properties file. Just put AWS Amazon. Let's copy paste. So this is the integer value. So let me create a class AWS prop reader annotated with component. Then configuration properties should be these three words. Okay. Then private int latest revenue. Okay, so let's put some getter setters. Perfect. Let's create a controller. Auto this particular property. Should be rest controller. Okay. So write a method public get top values void. I don't want it anything. Say this out. So I'm trying to pull this value which is mapped to this integer. Let's start the application. So I'm mapping this particular function to a URL. Restart. Localhost. See 107 displayed. Restart. See, we read integer value. Let's look at string. We put a string and read string value. So same prefix. So we have the class with the same prefix with this annotation. Only we need to add one more URL. I mean variable. String private so AWS Amazon connection dot URL. AWS Amazon connection dot URL. Let's create getter setters. Perfect. Now get URL. Get URL. Restart the app. See, we got the URL also. So we read integer and string. Now let's pull list more than one value. We are going to pull by using list. Basically, these are the strings. So this list of strings has 5 elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So AWS Amazon connection will be the prefix, regions will be the attribute name. So this is how we can use list string regions. These regions should be matching. Since these are strings, list of string, I mean more than one strings are available for the same variable. I'm going to use list string. Let's look at the example. So these are the strings. Let me create a variable. See here, list string regions. I just created getters and setters. Run the application. And see, these values displayed. Let me display specific one index. Rerun. See, Atlanta, Bangkok. Atlanta, Bangkok. So in case if I say string change to float, float, float. Let's see, are we going to get an error? See, we are getting exception here. So bind properties regions to float. So the conversion is failing. So string cannot be, this string cannot be converted as integer. So put it back. It should work. See, so we can pull a string. Now look at Amazon AWS connections. This is the prefix for the configuration properties. And zones, I'm using same zones. It has more than one value. So I'm going to capture as set. If I put duplicate values here, that's going to ignore, that won't be added to the set because set has unique values. Let's run this example. Sets, create a zone here, private, set, string, zones, create some getter setters. Okay, now get zones. Application started. Reload. See, get zones set is displayed. Let's do one thing. Copy paste. So I'm duplicating this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, four, 5. Value should be 4 only. Let's rerun. 4, because this thing is not duplicated here because it's set. Now map. If you look at this map, key value, AWS Amazon correction, prefix, no change. Revenue is a variable having key value, means string and float. I think maybe we can take it as integer and float, but integer to string implicit conversion will happen. So float and float. Maybe we can put float or double. We'll see. So let's see if we can use integer here. Map string float revenue private so this we can take string also. This also can be taken to string. Let's see string. Perfect. Revenue. Restart. Oh, I put the wrong message. But still you see key value 24,107, 23,90.8. So basically we're getting key value is a map. So string is kind of automatically type conversion is happening. Let's say float integer. Perfect. Float integer float. This I'm taking as integer, this as a float. Restart. Still is working fine. Integer and float. Integer and float. Can I say double? Double. I think this also should work. This is also working. Fine. Now let's read a character. Prefix is same. Prefix is a variable name. I should get the value A. Let's see. Getter setters and get prefix. Rerun the application. Run. See, prefix is displayed. Now look at the Boolean type. I have added an entry which return a Boolean value is closed. I'm accessing that particular Boolean variable here in the class which is configured with configuration properties. It has the same prefix. Let's see how do I pull this value. So this is the key I'm trying to pull. Create a variable here, private Boolean is closed. Create getter setters. Perfect. Is closed is much better. Okay, is closed. Let's access the param here. Reload. See, is closed. False displayed. Say true. Restart the app. True displayed. Now, if you look at overall the snapshot, this URL is mapped as a variable. Prefix went to this prefix at configuration properties level. So regions, prefix, this one. Same way zones, revenue, prefix, closed, is closed. So technically we are using these names here, keys as variables, which is case sensitive. Prefixes we are using class level, and we're accessing those getters, these getters. So this is like a common class for configuring variables for this case, and additional class where I access REST API call to pull these getters. This is a simple approach. What happens if we have prefix is common for few variables and we have some more prefixes which is different to existing? So what should we do? We should have two configuration properties classes. One property, configuration property, will take care of common prefixes, and another one we are going to create another class which annotate with configuration properties and going to have common prefix, and we have some more variables here. So we can have a number of classes with this configuration properties, and common prefix should be there, and those variables will be defined in a separate class. Let's create the example. So let me add some more properties. Prefix is this one, AWS Amazon pool. Okay, let's create a class. Pool properties. Pool property. Say configuration properties. Let's say AWS Amazon pool is the prefix. Say component. Perfect. Let's create these variables. Technically, these are integers. Private int integer max connection equal to 1000. Private integer minimum connection. So these are integers. Max connection, minimum connection, timeout. So let's create getter setters 3 for 3. So perfect. So what we'll do, let's create object for this guy. So now what we're gonna do, get max connection. Minimum connection, get timeout. So this is one property from we are reading. This is another property that we are reading from. So this is from one property file. I mean, this is for other properties. This is for another properties. This prefix is different. This prefix is different, but technically all are from same property file. So this particular section deal with one class. This particular section will deal with another class. Then we are getting objects for these two classes and accessing those functions and getting those variables. Application has started. Get see from pool properties we got 3 members. From AWS prop we got these. So this is how we can use configuration properties. So if we have more than one prefixes, you can go for multiple classes. And all the classes I'm accessing here, I'm getting those getters. Internal getters is connected to variables. Those will be pulled. So this is how we can implement or use configuration properties annotation from Spring Boot. So we are at the last page. Let's see the difference between value and configuration properties annotations. So the purpose, basically for the both the scenarios we are trying to pull keys from application.properties file. So if you look at value annotation, it's a simple, just you have a app.name, you straight away pull that particular property key by using edit value. You will assign to a variable in the program. But here you will be creating a Pojo class, Java Bean class, and in that you will be having variable which will represent key in the property file. So scope injects single values can be used to multiple times in different properties. Here if you see maps multiple related properties, often hierarchical structure. So basically we will have a class here. So we will not be having class straight away, we use directly that variable in a component. And flexibility. This is like a simple straight away for a simple configuration you can use it. This is like a complex compared to this. This is like a much more little bit complicated. But this is simple. This is complicated. And runtime updates. If you change anything in the property files by using request scope, you can put the latest value. Same thing here. Complexity. This is simple. This is a little bit complex. If the property file having prefixes with a multiple case, go with this particular application configurations, or if the application properties like having a unique case, no prefixes, straight away go with this particular annotation.